Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, even in our day to day lives, everything is now at our fingertips. And what's behind all of this is the booming IT industry and how important IT industry today is that we cannot live without technology uh, in our day to day lives. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome you to yet another session of HCL TechBiz Talks. And today we are going to dive into a very deeper subject, which is the emerging trends of IT infrastructure services. Now, speaking of, before we move into our usual agenda, speaking of HCL Sri Lanka, HCL Sri Lanka just commemorated our 1 year anniversary, and we have passed over 1,000 ideapreneurs. Now, to see a glimpse of what our past year has been, let's have a look.
HCL started its operations in Sri Lanka amidst the peak of global pandemic. We have employees who have joined us, and some of them have not visited the office even once. However, they continue to support global customers remotely. The resilience of our young team members, their commitment to deliver, and teamwork across diverse cultures is unprecedented by any global standards. We virtually inaugurated our Global Development Center in Sri Lanka in September 2020. And we are proud to have achieved a milestone of 1,000 plus ideapreneurs in just 1 year. No dream too big. Nothing is impossible. Join us in this exciting journey as HCL Sri Lanka is poised for accelerated growth.
Indeed, what a milestone to achieve in the past 1 year, despite of the global pandemic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into a very significant individual today in our agenda to deliver the welcome address. So for that, we have Mr. Thotatri Vaikuntham, the Resident Director and Center Head of HCL Technologies, Sri Lanka. Thotatri Vaikuntham has over 2 decades of experience in the ICT industry, a graduate in mathematics and postgraduate in the field of computer applications. He entered the IT industry in 1996 as a programmer. Thotatri joined HCL in the year 2001 as a developer, and since then he has done many roles and functions, including customer relationships, team management, project and program management functions. He's known for his sense of humor and people-friendly leadership style. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Thotatri Vaikuntham on stage to deliver the welcome address. Thota, over to you.
Thank you, Aksa. Good morning, all of you. Ayubowan to everyone. I would take you through who we are as a company, right? I'd introduce HCL as a company, and spend the last few minutes talking about what we are doing here in Sri Lanka, and what has been the journey in the last 1 year. So, Kirilu, can you move on? HCL, to introduce, is a $10.5 billion USD company. Right? We started in 1976. Right, it's been a while, and the DNA, the primary functions that we had done in the first 25 years, and even since then, has been IT solutions for engineering companies. So HCL has always been a very strong engineering company. Somewhere midway, HCL is known to be the pioneer for what we then called remote infrastructure management. And then and we were one of the first and we in the country, and we basically established that as a practice around 20 years back, right? We have 176,000 employees around the world, uh, 1,000 of them from Sri Lanka. We have 50 countries which are delivery centers. So basically, these 50 countries' offices, we have a few hundreds, thousand people providing global technology solutions to our customers, right? So we started Sri Lanka last year. It was one of the 47th, 48th country in the world. We have employees from 160 countries working with us, and the world's best employer, right? Something that I think is quite common here in Sri Lanka. We are number 30 globally, and we are number one in India. Kirilu, while I think in terms of revenue, in terms of margin, number of employees, in terms of the size and scale, we are quite big around the world. What we are even more proud of is what we call as CSAT scores, right? Customer satisfaction scores. So we have thousand plus customer in each of the lines of business. Put together, we would have 4,000 plus relationships, right, with the customers that we are managing around the world. And we reach out to all the customers once every year and ask them to rate HCL's services, solutions, and the strategy that we provide to them on an annual basis. As you can see, our CSAT scores have been always going up for the last one decade, and that, as I said, gives us immense pleasure and delight than the revenue margin numbers as well. Kirilu, a quick look at the various services that we have. The one on the left that you see, IT and business services, consists of digital foundation, digital business, and digital operations, right? Three sub lines of business. And this contributes close to around 75% of the HCL's revenue. So these are also the services that we have started in HCL Sri Lanka. We have half of the team doing application services and systems integration solutions with various programming languages, and the other half providing infrastructure solutions to customers around the world. The one on the center that you see is the core that I explained a while back. It's the DNA of the company. That's how we started. We had created an operating system. We created a database management system, a DBMS, in the 1970s. Right, it's the DNA of the company. So that's and currently we do quite a bit of engineering solutions, IT solutions to many engineering companies, and provide product services, R&D services to our customers. The one on the right, products and platforms, is the new kid, so to say, is a new entrant to HCL. We have now, earlier we were a services company, IT services company. In the last 5 years, we have branched off as a technology solutions company. We have also started products and platforms as a new entrant. It's the highest growth line of business within HCL. So we have quite a bit, around 150 plus products that are a part of our portfolio that we sell to our customers. Kiru? Well, what are the industry verticals that we work, and what does it mean to you, right? To all the people who are listening today, what it means to you is that you will have a diverse opportunity to get into any of these verticals. Right? So as you can see, financial services and manufacturing and technology services are the top three verticals that we have. Then we also have telecom, media, publishing, entertainment, retail, manufacturing, life sciences. Right? You think of a vertical, we are there. And what it also means is, as I said, is that we give this opportunity. You should be able to join a vertical, move around after 3 or 4 years to multiple other verticals. right? It's very essential that we, as technology people, are able to scale up, upskill ourselves for the chosen technology, and also as IT professionals, because we are consultants all the time, learn the various domains, the various verticals, and what it offers, right? So a company like HCL will be able to give you this diverse experience. Kirill? So we are, as we talked about, present in 50 countries. Sri Lanka is something we added last year, and we are very proud. We should have been here. Now, looking back, I think we should have been here many years back, but it's good that we are here. And what this offers to our customers again is that we have a model called Follow the Sun, and we have these 50 countries. Primarily, we diversify to many countries to tap the people, right, as an asset, right. We want to get the best people in each place, so that's the primary reason we diversify. That's the only reason to come to Sri Lanka. We are thrilled to be here, and the experience that we have got in the last 1 year has told us that this is a great place for us to grow. Kirill? Yeah, now in Sri Lanka, we started our operations actually the same month in September last year. We had around 30 plus people. You can see the photograph here. We had around 30 plus people when we started, to 1060 today, that we have crossed. And that in itself is a milestone, as Afsa said, in this time of COVID and the many restrictions that we have. We are currently operating out of Orion City, and recently we have also taken up Cinnamon Life as one of the second offices in Colombo. We are servicing close to 50 Fortune 500 companies right here from Sri Lanka. So basically, we transition a lot of people from other countries. We transition the job roles, not the people, but the job roles from other countries, and then put the team here locally. Um, uh, so you can expect a world-class IT infrastructure facility in Cinnamon Life, right, which is coming up. It's currently in construction, and hopefully by end of this year we should be starting operations from our second office as well. While we are putting all these infrastructure together, we always say that the biggest asset for us in HCL are all the people that we have and all the people that we want to acquire. So to all those people who are listening to us today, um, I request you to look at the various opportunities in our website, hclsrilanka.com, apply, and I look forward to seeing you in HCL one day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dothatri Vaikuntham, for giving the welcome address and setting the context as to what HCL Sri Lanka has been doing so far. So thank you very much. And now the purpose of today's HCL TechBiz talk is to let you all know about the latest IT and emerging trends. And for that, we are now moving into our keynote speaker for today. And our keynote speaker for today is Rajesh Srinivasan. Now, Rajesh is a person who has an experience in IT infrastructure over the past 25 years and has been a transformation advisor to enterprise class customers across the globe. He, he specializes in terms of day zero to and day one services associated with hybrid cloud services. He joined HCL in the year 2012 and has played key roles in the CTO organization of HCL. He's currently the Associate Vice President as well. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Rajesh Srinivasan to give us an insight of the emerging trends in infrastructure services. Rajesh, over to you.
Hi everyone, Vanakkam, and a very good morning to all of you. I know it's been a Saturday morning for all of us, and really appreciate in you taking your time off. And rather than taking a time off, I would love to say that you are investing in yourself and trying to look at what is there in store for you. Next 20 minutes, if not more, so we will look at how interesting is the digital foundation. The word digital earlier used to be called as the IT, managed services, etc. Today is the new coinage. You can see all the enterprise class moving away from the normal brick and mortar to a digital area. And a good example for that would be a digital payments. About 8 years back, there was only way you need to go to a bank or write a check or take a DD. But today there is you can pay through Google Pay, and there is a unified payment interface, digital banking. Yeah, I can keep talking about that a lot. Now, if you look at how important is IT infrastructure services in your day-to-day life, right from you wake up in the morning till you do a digital transaction, and then you go back home, and what before you even you switch on the alarm, unless it is a Sunday morning. So every point in time, you have a digital play in your life. Your alarm clock, your push button coffee, your connected cars, your internet, your WhatsApp, your mobile phones, the electronics, and whatnot by the time. So, HCL, what do we do here? See, could you next, please? Yeah, I'll take you through that. So, if you really look at that, the digital operations and the digital foundation help the digital business. If you can focus a little bit in terms of the bottom digital foundation, what you see, you can feel a hybrid cloud perspective, a digital workplace, and the networks and security. These four are the kind of pillars for any enterprise for them to do a digital business. While cloud is something that you will be hearing quite frequently and quite often, and then AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, etc., we will touch upon that a little later. There is a significant presence in terms of the workplace services, which gets into your mail, messaging, your desktop, antivirus, your laptops, VDIs, etc. Then there is a networks, which is a data network and a voice network, and security is obvious reasons. While the world focuses on technology, if you can look at the topmost lane where there is machine is one part, then the employees is the next, and you look at the clients and the partners. We at HCL, we look at everything as a holistic. Sometime back, I believe Tota would have showed in one of the slides, it's one HCL. So we try to look everything into a single bucket, and whereby we see the reaps of benefit that we get both for the customers and the alliance partners and for HCL as such. It is, we always have a win-win into this picture. And when I say that, I take so much of pride in being 10 years in HCL out of my 25, 26 years of service. And the journey has been literally awesome. Not only in terms of technical area, but it's a family. And while we go across, I can explain to you a little bit more. And any questions on that, if you can hold on, we can have a question session at the last. Or if you think that there is something which you want that to be clarified, please type it on the chat box, and then we'll be more than happy to answer. The reason is that one is the if you look at a scale where there are two ends, one is the applications or the workload you call it, and then the infrastructure. Uh, when you can look at that, the application, by the time you create, develop, it takes about a full life cycle, about 8 to 12 months for you to design, plan, deploy an application. But if you really look at the infrastructure, the damage has already been done before even you get a ticket. I'll give you an example. In the recent world, you look at Evergreen was one large mammoth container which choked the entire world because of it got stuck in a canal for about 3 days. Now, assume a situation where there is kind of, what do you say, an aluminium company having mines all across the globe. There is a 2.5 kilometer gap between the gate pass that's been issued for a truck to leave the premise and one possible server. And if there is a delay of about 10 milliseconds, the bill does not get generated. And then there are going to be huge number of trucks, and the truck is not allowed to leave. Similar to that, any of the toll gate, the moment you have a tag attached to that, there is a scanner, it goes there, and then look at all the transactions that take place before your vehicle can pass through the toll without any hindrances. And just imagine a 10-minute delay of any approval system that happens in the infrastructure on the toll gate. Look at the queue or piling up of cars. So HCL touches up across the every aspect of infrastructure for more than 400 customers across the globe. I'll explain to you on that. So, Kirlu, please. Okay. So when we say digital technologies, all these slides I can explain. It will take another day, and obviously you will get to hear from me very soon. But the key parameters here will be the cloud area, the hybrid cloud, the data center, the AI, ML, IoT. And I'm sure you folks would have looked into the web and read all these kind of technologies, what it is, and how important it is. Now we will be touching upon the data center and the hybrid cloud technologies in detail in the next 8 to 10 minutes for me to give some light on you. Yes, please. Kirlu? Okay. Now for the numbers. These are the quite interesting numbers. And as a HCLite, I take a pride in saying that we are about $3.8 billion in terms of pure play infrastructure services. And we are leaders in the world. And very few companies can match us in terms of the length and breadth of the services point, and if not on the products. And 42 million touch points is not so small, and you have customers all across the globe, and Tota has already given the background to that. But these are the numbers. When you really look at it and you compare with any of our peers, we create magic, and we create magic to a larger extent. And now, as I was explaining later, there is a digital workplace, there is a hybrid cloud, and then there is a next gen networks and cyber security, etc. But what you see within the highlighted area is what is kind of niche today, and most of them are looking around. And I'm sure when you look into your LinkedIn or any of the areas, you will see what's happening across the globe. Now, the enterprise class customers, what we call as enterprise class customers is if they are having a turnover of about $3 billion or more in their own business. So we call them as kind of an enterprise class. And then we have t-shirt sizes for S, M, L, etc. Now, what do we do in this particular space? Let's talk about hybrid cloud first. A cloud where the customers are planning to move their workloads to cloud, if not the entire 100%, 30%, 40%, 50%, etc. Now, the customers will be having a doubt: is what is there in it for me in terms of cloud? Am I worthwhile to move? Whether my product or my workload can move as it is, or does it require a re-engineering? It's a huge area of technical requirements that is there. So what HCL does in that space is we look at the workload and look at how many user bases are there, where they are connected, how we want to take it across. And we have our own set of tools, which is IP to HCL. This is the differentiator that HCL brings into the table, is that we have our own methodologies, our own frameworks to look at each workload by its merit. It could be a prod, it could be a test, it could be a development, or any of that particular gamut. We look at the merit of this application and what will be the roadblocks for you to migrate, and how do you migrate, when do you migrate, what are the low hanging fruits that are there for you to help it migrate quicker, faster, cheaper, and better. Then this is a consulting exercise. As we were talking about a little earlier, they are day zero and day one services. And we have clearly earmarked in terms of what we do in day zero, what we do in day one, and who does it. And it will be interesting to have people like you to join us to look at being part of more of a design area. Then there is a new age of technology. 3-4 years ago, if you really look at it, even your laptops, it was having only spindle discs, which comes across a HD drive, 512 KB, etc. and all. Now you look at, there is a flash drives in your laptops. That's what the technology gets deployed, developed very, very fast. What was novel about 2 years ago, now it gets into an end of life or a sunset. There was something called as a converged infrastructure about maybe 5 years back, in a kind of V block or the NetApp Flex pods. The world was looking at as a single monolithic block. While the world was looking at it, what we were doing from HCL is that we developed our competencies and we created our workforce to address this particular market. And yes, we have got across the globe, we have many, many customers in terms of the numbers, what you have seen. There are 201,000 VMs which we manage, and there are more than 5 million kind of stuff which we look into that. Then comes the newer age technology, which the compute, network, storage, everything gets into a pizza box. What is called as a hyper-converged infrastructure. There are many leading players in that. It could be a Cisco or a Nutanix, which I will come to you about later. So, given the interest of time, what we wanted to say is that we are there in the full life cycles play. You are there in a design, plan, prepare, implement, operate, optimize. You name that, yes, we do. And we are a vendor agnostic organization. What do we mean by that is that we give our own propositions to the customer, but it's up to the customer to invest on whatever it is. We are not here to push the boxes of any other OEM like Cisco, HP, or anybody on the world. But yes, we have, based on our experiences, we give our recommendations. 8 out of 10 times the customer do hear us in terms of the capability of that. And we do have more interesting stuff. I'll explain to you to the slides down the line, please. Kirlu? Okay. Another interesting point, which I can take a pride, just like an army officer wearing a badge on his sleeve or on his chest, the industry analysts and all of them, literally all of them, it could be a Gartner, it could be a Forrester, it could be an IDC research, they have rated us very, very high in terms of the North America, Europe, Asia Pac, and all these markets. And I would love to take across each and every segment leaders across, but yeah, definitely it will be some other day, some other time. A very, very interesting conversation in terms of how HCL beats or leads them across. In almost all the segments, we are in the leader quadrant, that's for sure. But even in the leader quadrant, we are either number one or number two when it comes to providing the services for that, which all of our HCL, we are very, very happy and pride about this particular accomplishment. And if you really look at it, where we were 10, 12 years ago and where we have reached today, it's an amazing journey. And I've been something close to my heart being part of the journey where we took the organization from where it was to where it is today. Kirlu? Right. As I was saying some time back, services is our portfolio, our breadwinner. But even then, we have a relationship with the partner ecosystem. While every other partner or every other of our peer will say that they have partnership with all this, for example, Google or Microsoft, Dell, HP, we go one step beyond. And what do we do with them is that we go one step beyond and we tell them that we create joint IPs. We create IPs in terms of saying that, we'll prepare a joint proposition to our customers. Sometime back, Totatri was explaining about the industry vertical, financial segment, what do you do? Manufacturing, what do you do? Like that, HCL with Cisco for a manufacturing, what do we do? It's the industry vertical where we map. So for people like you, it's not necessary, it's only a technical know-how is required. But if you have the industry knowledge, yes, the horizontal cuts across the vertical. It will be a very, very interesting proposition. And I'm sure Tota will be organizing many more sessions in that particular industrial area, which will be quite interesting to look at. Kirlu, please. Okay. Innovation labs. This is another feather in our cap. We have invested heavy. When we say heavy, we have, at least in India, I could just think of about $35 million, which has gone in as an investment. Now, what is an investment? Now, for you folks, many of you would have been interested. You would have bought a server at home and you have created a VM, you created a workload across that, etc. What we have done in HCL is that across the globe. I'm not sure if you're able to look at the entire locations over there. So we have more than 45 labs across the globe. What do we do here? The first and foremost thing is that if we help our customers for a go or a no go decision, it's not on a PPT, it's not on a sales point, but we do it and show it to the customer, or we ask the customer to prepare it. I'll give you an example. If there is a SAP 90 which has come out, or if there is going to be a new composable infrastructure from HP which they have released, now, the customer, before even he takes the journey of going and buying that particular infrastructure, not knowing whether it will fit him or not, we, HCL, would have taken that infrastructure and we have kept it in our labs in Chennai, Noida, Bangalore, London, and I think in Australia also. The customers can go, have a view to that, and then bring their workloads, have it operated over there, and see the performance in terms of IOPS, whether it is faster, cheaper, better, whether we want to go or a no go. And if you can ask me, yes, the OEMs also give the services. For example, if you make a call to HP and if you are a large enterprise class customer, HP will ship their products. You need to rack and stack in their data center, connect it, put the load, etc., which takes approximately 14 weeks before even you can test a workload. But you walk into Noida, you walk into Chennai, and within 2 days, you can go back with a one is definitely a peace of mind, and second is you would have learned a lot with the experience and expertise of HCL folks in all these locations, and hardcore technology where we look at the nuts and bolts of this particular infrastructure. And third, for your current workload, for your future workload, whether it makes sense, yes or no, you will be able to look at it. That's one. Second, what we do is that sometime back, example, I was telling you that about a hyper converged infrastructure. Today, if you look at the market, there are about 36 players in the hyper-converged infrastructure. But hardly 5 of them are leaders in the market. One is Dell VxRail, Nutanix, and HP, SimplyVity, Cisco HyperFlex, and then you have NetApp FlexPod. Now, for the customer to decide which one to buy, similar to you go to a mobile phone shop, and you have a Vivo, you have an Apple phone, you have a Samsung, you have X numbers of it. So how do you decide which phone you want to buy and which camera is better and which has got better memory, which has got better storage? Obviously, you read the specs. But unless you take your phone and then you try to insert your SIM card and you take a picture of yours and send it to your parents, girlfriends, whomsoever, you will know the resolution, right? Similar to that, we have the latest gear in our labs so the customer can come and walk in. Now, is it only about the customer? No. It's for people like you and me. And even I spend about 30% of my time over a month inside the labs. And more than reading, I'm sure you will agree with me, rather than going through a textbook, unless you rip open a server or you rip open a network or you connect a cable, you will not learn or gain anything. You can sit in front of your PC and Google the questions and answers. But what is interesting, and I am an engineer from my heart, so I'm not the marketing or the MBA or that's a different ball game altogether. For me, I want to troubleshoot the problems. I want to solve the problems of the customer. I want to deploy something, roll up the sleeves. And that's what I do for a living here in HCL. Any new gears that's come into any part of the world, and trust me, I would have laid my hands on that and then see that how it is different, how robust it is, what needs to be done, and most important is how it will help my customer. One. Next, I'm sure most of you would have been Cisco certified or HP certified or AWS certified. Well, you can go to Cisco and answer a few questions on that and get some scenarios and how to make it certified. How we have in our places, how you can become a HCL certified. And these labs, you can walk in, you take one of the test cases or the use cases, and say, for example, create a environment with 40 VMs with 16 GB RAM and 20 terabyte of hard disk. We give you everything. All you have to do is come in, log in, create the environment, and get satisfied, be happy about what you have done, and improve your confidence. Now you can ask me, is it necessary that I need to go to London or Australia or Delhi or in Chennai? Not necessary. Any HCLite anywhere in the globe has got the privilege to access this particular infrastructure. So this is really all our, we have about some 55,000 HCL associates who are into infra domain, and almost 60 to 70% of them are so happy about this, and it's about learning and gaining. And I'm sure as an engineer, all of you would have some point in time opened up your personal laptop or a computer, except for iPads. iPads, Apple keeps it very close to themselves. They never allow us to open. Otherwise, I think I would have done that, and I'm sure you would have also done that. So this is another interesting area for us in HCL. Kirlu? Yep. So these are the labs, and we have called cloud native labs. And this is what I was talking about. We have got connectivity to the clouds. You name the cloud we have. We have people sitting here across and working. It's an interesting journey. Yes. Yeah. Next, please. Cloud partnerships. This is kind of very, very important, as we were saying that we are cloud agnostic. And a customer comes to us, says that, hey, Rajesh, we want to walk the path of the cloud. And we said, yes, most welcome. So we asked them, which cloud do you want to look at it, and why you want to look at that particular cloud? So the customer will have their own reasons. With whatever the sales guys from these organizations come and met the customer, or their delivery organization would have said, yeah, I'm trying to move towards AWS, or I'm trying to move to Azure. There is a point of view. So, people like me, we are from our COE, Center of Excellence, or the Technology Excellence Group. We have looked into each and every of the cloud, whatever is depicted over here. And then we have our point of view to look at for which type of workload, which cloud is the best, and what security you want to take it. And whether it has to be a hybrid one, it has to be a full public, whether it has to be an XaaS, etc. And you can look at any of these clouds. We are there. We have got customers here. We have moved more than about 24,000 VMs to each of these clouds from most of our customers. And I'm sure that at this point in time, we have about 85 customers whom we have migrated to cloud, if not for their entire workload, at least for their x86 workloads. Yes, we have been there. And the journey has been great. The Nutanix, I'm sure that you would have also heard or read a lot about it. It's a new age technology. And now there is a composable infrastructure which comes across. And then there is a quantum computing, which you can see very, very soon. And what we look at is creation of the PREs and SREs. So what is a PRE and what is an SRE? It's a platform reliability engineer and a site reliability engineering. Not all of them across the globe can get an opportunity to get into a multi-skill training and the compute network storage. And this is one of the area HCL we have mastered. We have helped more than about 800 people in the last year to get into a platform reliability engineering mode. And next year we have a huge task. And Tota, I would love to see that more engineers in Sri Lanka to embrace this particular domain areas. Next, please. Yeah. Now, leaving alone the technology, and I think I have some more time. What's there in it store for you? First is future-proof domains. If you really look at it, 15 years back, if you were a Visual Basic or if you were a Java engineer, if you were a power builder, so that used to keep you abreast. 3 years, 4 years back, you would have looked at data science, Hadoop, Bitcoin, blockchain, etc. In HCL, if we really look at it, we have workloads or we have opportunities all across. What we don't do is that we do not fill up the blanks. What do we mean by saying that? Is here is an opportunity. We need to find this JD and then bring in this guy and fill up the blanks. No. We bring in people. We bring in kind hearts. We bring in kind souls who will be with us for a longer period of time. And you saw Tota has been here for 20 years and I've been here for about 11 years. Though I joined a little late. Maybe I realized a little late. I should have joined a little earlier. But that's what keeps you exciting. And today's technology, even if it gets outdated, we have ways and means for people to get skill in whatever domains they want. And then you can move around the domains. Next is empowerment. And I have been through the HCL is my sixth organization in my 26 years of career. And nowhere in the past six organizations I have seen so much of empowerment that you get in terms of your day-to-day activities, how you wanted to do, and then you've been heard. What do we mean by that is that, say for example, 3 years down the line, there is a new technology, for example, quantum computing, which comes across, or infrastructure as a code in AWS, which you think will be better for this organization. You will be here. You will be given an opportunity, and nobody shuts off. That's not our culture. It's a very, very open, and we want to hear from all of you the new ideas, and we are open up for ideas. That I feel is very, very important for me, and I enjoy that particular area. Cross skilling. And what do we mean by cross skilling? From an infra perspective, a compute, network, storage, and tools, these are kind of four bricks or pillars. You can have one primary skill, and you can have two or three skills also. But what we encourage our team members to do is that have one primary skill and one secondary skill, and which is going to help in the path of PRE or SRE or an architect becoming into the cloud, etc. Embracing the DevOps. HCL, and I can put all my experience and say that we have grown leaps and bounds in this particular area, and we have started reaping benefits in the last 6 months. Very, very interesting area if it is there for you. And then I would seriously say that that has got a very good future, and job security is there. And then disruption. This is a beautiful word when you say disruption, and everybody talks about it. And in my lifetime, the greatest disruption I would have seen that is the iPhone 4. And why you say that? Before iPhone 4, and there were so many different types of phones. Motorola was there, Nokia was there, and look at the button how it started. Now, what all it has disrupted? Excuse me. Excuse me for a minute. Thank you for that. What all it has disrupted, if you really look at it? First thing is it has displaced your watch. After that phone came in, people stopped wearing watches typically. And then there is a FM radio used to be there. And then there was a compass. And like that, if you look at it, there were about 250 things that the apps disrupted this particular stuff. That's what is actual disruption. Then let's look at how the discrete infrastructure was there. A compute was there, a network was there, a storage was there, and then the SAN, NAS, etc. Everything got into a box. That's where simplicity was there. And it's a pizza box which had got all those things put together. So that is disruption. So you can be a part of this great disruption journey, whatever you want to have with your customers. And then lastly, you can create a difference, and looking forward for more ideapreneurs and more disruptors, more innovators over here. So with this, I'll take a pause for any questions. And Kerlu?
Thank you very much, Rajesh, for giving us such an insightful session on what this about the latest trends on infrastructure services. So we have our very first question on the chat box. It's from Ahmed Razin. What do you think about the future of IT industry in Sri Lanka?
Very, very promising. It's very, very promising. And to be honest with you, when we first initially started this, we never thought that yes, there are going to be so much of skills available, but it is very, very encouraging. And thought that just about 30 minutes back showcase to you, our aim was to have start slow and grow small, grow a little bit. But even in the pandemic, in the last 1 year, we have got 100 people onboarded, and we have got about 45 to 50 customers already we are supporting from HCL Sri Lanka, and it is going to grow more. And it's really awesome. And long story short, yes, it is very much promising in terms of level 2 and level 3 technologies. And where we want to bring in is that we want to create more architects in Sri Lanka. It could be an application architect or an infrastructure architect, but the journey is there with SRE and PRE. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you for your question, Ahmed. Indeed, we do have a very promising career in terms of IT in Sri Lanka. Our next question is from Rajiv Pereira. What is the main strategy to move the business to Sri Lanka?
Right. It's a multi-pronged strategy. First thing is that, as Tota was mentioning, we should have been here a little bit earlier. One is that we see so much of the timeline advantage between India and Sri Lanka as the time zone. Second is availability of skilled personnel. And yes, we still feel that it is a virgin land, and there are people, very bright students, very good educational institutions in Sri Lanka, and plus it will be like, it's an extension of our Indian counterpart in terms of business. So though we are late, we are already there, and we wanted to look at growing the business in Sri Lanka. The most important is providing the regional employment for the technical resources for them. Trust that answers you, Rajiv.
Thank you for your question, Rajiv. And indeed, better late than never. So we are just on time moving our business into Sri Lanka. Thank you, Rajiv, for your question. Do we have any more questions on the floor? Okay, so we have a question from Vivek
Yeah.
Achal. Implementation of UPI.
Oh, yes. Interesting one. Yes, we have been part of designing, planning, and implementing the UPI across the globe, particularly in Ireland, Scotland, and in Australia. And we are looking at more and more. But more than UPI, and Vivek, I'll let you know that for this Manchester United, how many of you are football fans? I'm not sure, but we manage and maintain their entire infrastructure. Say, for example, they have got about 275 million fans across the globe. And for every fan, look at the data that is getting pumped into them. Look at the merchandise that they want to buy and where to go, where it is available, what are the goals, what are the favorite videos, how do you stream it, everything we manage. So UPI is hardly about 10% of what we did in Manchester United. That answers
Thank
you, Vivek? Yeah.
Thank you very much for your question, Vivek. Indeed, Rajesh gave an in-depth answer for your question.
Yeah.
Uh, and we have our next question is from Shakir K. How does
Yes.
the digital foundation enrich the partially automated SME sector?
Beautiful, beautiful question. Yeah, I was waiting to see somebody asks this question. See, the SME segment is no more an SME segment compared to pre-COVID and post-COVID. Now, digital foundation, as you saw the blocks over there, the end user computing or the workplace, the hybrid cloud, and then the networks and the security. 3 years back, if you would have asked this question, we would look at whether the cloud is secure. And now, is there any question around security of cloud? No. What we see the SME segment is their reachability has grown worldwide. For example, in your case, if you look at the tea companies in Sri Lanka, they were limited to their business within their regional locality. Now, in India, we can very easily order this particular Dilma chai or even any other stuff or your tea. I don't have the name because I am a favorite of Dilma, so I take that. So those teas are made available to people in Vietnam, Indonesia, etc. That's one, you get the global reachability for SME sector. Second is the pricing. There is no longer you need to buy only in Sri Lankan rupees. You can pay in US dollars, and that itself is a very big boon to the SME sector. The third one is that the SMEs are moving above the value chain in terms of adding the products and delivering it in the next business day or the next 2 business days, along with any other products and tie-ups. So 3 or 4 SMEs join together and everything happens in a globe. There is no handshake in the real world, but in a SME, you have lot of options available because of the, you rightly said, partially automated, and you get those things digital, including the payments and deliveries happening.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Shakir. Indeed, Rajesh gave us a detailed explanation on the SME sector and the importance of it. And okay, we have a big question from Lahiru Gunarahma. Sri Lanka, country as a whole, in the midst of global pandemic, faced a lot of problems and challenges in getting the real-time data with regards to COVID-19 patients and even deaths. I wonder how HCL could tie up with relevant ministries and create a platform which can deliver real time data and solutions with the use of cloud and blockchain technology.
Yeah. So there are two parts to this, Lahiru, sorry. So one is technically, yes, it is possible. And we have shown that to many of our customers across the globe. Pandemic is global. It's not localized to Sri Lanka. For example, me, it's been almost 2 years since I've been to office. And yes, I miss my coffee and a chai in my cafeteria. And yeah, so that's my individual view. So connecting up with the ministries is something that within the HCL corporate we have to take it. That question I need to park, or if Totatri can explain about the HCL with the ministry tie-ups, that will be great. But on a technical merit, getting this blockchain, we can park the technology because it doesn't sound well along with the COVID over there. But yes, the cloud, how do you use it? How do you help them to treat the patients, and where we are? I think we have done great improvements in our Noida sector. But for Sri Lanka, with the ministry tie-ups, Totadri may be better position to answer the question. Tota, are you there, Tota?
Yeah, hi. So the solutions are pretty much what Rajesh just explained. But I would like to say, being in Colombo for the last 2 years, we are doing fantastically well, in my opinion. In fact, just around 3 weeks, 4 weeks back, WHO recognized Sri Lanka as one of the best countries which have, in terms of vaccination, right? So that's, and I'm sure all of you, Lahiru, you would have seen, the number of vaccinations that we have done as a percentage of the overall population, right? We just opened up 20 years and above a few weeks back, and we have already crossed around 65-70% of the overall population, which is one of the best, in the world. As a country, we are doing one of the best in the world. Have great dashboards that I believe in the next 2 or 3 weeks we should be above 80%, and we call herd immunity, right? Herd immunity, which is at least 3% of the entire population have been infected by COVID, and therefore they have got a natural vaccination, natural antibodies in your body, or we have vaccinated all our people. So I think as a country we are doing pretty well. We would love to work with the government if there is an opportunity, but currently we are not. But the solutions are available. It is common for all the world, and I think as a country we are doing wonderfully.
Thank you, Tota.
Thank you, Tota, and thank you, Rajesh, for answering that question in a deeper manner. Indeed, we are, as a country, we are doing quite well, and with the
Yes.
number of vaccination drives which is happening on a daily basis, despite of this lockdown. Yes. And do we have any more questions? Okay, we have another question from Shakir again. The cost of managed services of the SME in current times versus one-off offerings in the market. This cost is higher. What is the opportunity or the return ROI perspective?
Yeah.
In the ROI perspective.
Yeah, Shakir, you already answered that. You said it's only one-off offerings. What happens is that you can go to a point in time solutions player. Say, for example, you go to a person who manages the Active Directory, and he will not be looking at the mail or messaging. And yes, it is good to have till such time you have a problem. See, that's what I'm talking about. The infrastructure services. Before you get to know there is a problem, the damage is already been done. But whereas in the SAP world or in the application development world, if there is a bug, you can go back and take it offline and then try to go code, decode, write another 10,000 lines of code, and you can solve the problem. But it is like a live wire. infrastructure is a live wire. So one of the services, yes. For example, you take a car to a mechanic. So you see that there is some cracking sound which is coming up, and then he can apply some grease or oil and then to the wheel. But you never know that the air filter has choked, right? And you never know that the mileage is not coming up to the mark, and you never know that the coolant is there. That's the problem when you go with the one service offering rather than coming to a managed services player, because everything is event correlated and the disaster does not happen on overnight. Only after repeated times you avoid the signals, you eliminate the signals, you get into a disaster. So the answer is there. The price point may be 8 to 10% higher, but definitely you can sleep at peace. What we call it as a 2 a.m. problem. If you are able to sleep at 2 a.m. in the morning, then I think yes, your infrastructure is up and running. We tell this to our customers. Thanks for that question. Yeah.
Indeed, IT infrastructure is a key component in every single person's life. Thank you, Shakib, for that question. And do we have any more questions in the chat box? Okay, we have another question from Devdas. What do you think about the competitors in Sri Lanka? What is the pros and the cons you find here in market as well as in employees' views?
Right. So, competitors in Sri Lanka, it will be nice to have somebody a worthwhile competition, right? So when you say that the earlier Sri Lankan cricket team used to be there, very tough. They won the World Cup. So that is the kind of competitor we are trying to look at. But I'm just opening up my binoculars to see if there are any competitors out there, and competitors will help us to grow a much faster rate and with more challenging. Coming to the pros and cons, yes, the pros is that it's a beautiful market. You have very good education system there, and you find very much talented pool. The cons, I will not say it as a con. It is like the reachability for people like you. What are the opportunities that are available there? Are you aware of these opportunities? For example, infrastructure. Unless you heard from us, you will not know the significance of infrastructure, what is happening in the global market in terms of hybrid cloud. So those communications is kind of, we need to have more reach, and HCL, we will be promising the more reachability for people and all the technical brilliant guys over there in Sri Lanka. And from an employee's view, right now I think most of them are working from home, and unless we all get into an office, we handshake, we sit across for a cup of tea, most of the views will not be coming up. But I think now it is promising. That's how we have reached the first milestone of 1,000 ideapreneurs, and we'll have more and more senior most management from HCL visiting Sri Lanka once this pandemic is done. And then you will get to see lots and lots of leaders reaching out to you, and it's family. It's an extended family. We want to embrace you at the earliest. Thank you.
Indeed, I just caught up what Rajesh said. We are indeed the family, and we are pretty much connected at HCL Technologies Sri Lanka. Thank you, Devdas, for that question. Do we have any more questions on? Okay, we have a question from Manu. How is the government participation in digital transformation of Sri Lanka?
Right. I think Tota, so from the government side, possibly you can explain that. If it is going to be only on a couple of banks, I can, but Tota can answer better.
Yeah, sure. So we are as a company, we are currently servicing global customers in US and Europe, and we are transitioning these customers, their solutions, their relationships, and the technology solutions that we are providing to them from around the world. We are transferring the job roles to Sri Lanka and getting that executed here. So every single individual of the 1,000 employees are focused on providing solutions to our global customers. We are looking out actively, and there are wonderful projects and activities from ICTA and Slashform that are being executed, but we do not currently have experience in this. We are evaluating and exploring some of these opportunities.
Thanks, Sota. Any other questions, please? I know it's between breakfast and lunch in Sri Lanka. Saturday lunchtime should be interesting lunch, yeah.
Thank you very much
Now there's a question.
for that
Blockchain will.
question. And we have,
Yeah,
yes, our
yeah.
next question is, how do you think blockchain will impact the lives of Sri Lankans by Kasa?
It's not only Sri Lankan.
And I
See,
believe this will be our last question.
yeah, it's global. Yeah,
I mean,
it is global. It's not only for Sri Lanka. So blockchain, yes, it's about the bitcoins of the world, the cryptocurrencies. Only when it comes into a larger mode, and out of 180 countries, 165 countries have not endorsed the currencies over there. So cryptocurrency is a major use of the blockchain. Now, second part where the blockchain comes into the effect or will be of use in terms of medical healthcare. And I would see by way of this, I will request Tota to schedule one life sciences and healthcare. What do we do? HCL does that. It will be very, very interesting for you to understand how we manage the IoT of operation theater, knife, scissors, etc. Whether it has been sanitized, we get into that. It's not only the computers, the network, the storage. It's more interesting. That's why I keep saying, you can't answer all of things over here. Yeah, in fact, I took almost 3.5 years to understand literally what HCL does. And believe me, every day there is something new which has been happening in HCL. It will be right to look at it. Next, what is your advice to professional migrating their careers from legacy techs to new ones? Okay, so now legacy, if you are calling as mainframe as mid-range as legacy, you if you love the technology, you can stay there. I have my team who been with this legacy technologies for almost 20-25 years, and it's in their comfort zone, and it's about the individual mindset. People who are at 45 years plus, they always want to stick to their own technology. Like, I'm not sure what bike or car you drive. Like, I drive a Maruti car and I love that, and whatever Volvo comes in, I don't buy that. So that way you stick to the legacy over there is pointy. But if at all you want to migrate to open systems, even whether you join HCL or not, it is very much open, and it is about your interest. It's like this. I would seriously recommend you invest 1 hour in a week, nothing more. Just 1 hour, switch off your mobile phones, take a book or get into your laptop, read about that new age niche technologies. And since I'm in IT infrastructure, I will always raise my hand and embrace all of them to get into IT infrastructure. Read about what happens in the server world, in the network world, in the storage world. These are all new age technologies. And you can look at even any of the products. For example, if you look at Rubrik, you can Google Rubrik and see what is Rubrik. What does it do? What does it, diversity oriented? So you can get deep dive into that. Just 1 hour in a week is sufficient, and you do that for 3 months. You are a master in HCL. Yeah. What is the advantage to move to support role from developer?
I think
Now I'm
we
middle of a career as a developer. You see, both are good. If you are a support, then once again the timelines vary. So it will be a 24/7. And if you are not so supportive in terms of taking the night shifts, and if your boss wants to work only the night shift, then there is a conflict of interest. But typical developer role is a morning 9 to 5, and you have a module and you have teams helping you. But as support role, whether you get into application support or you are getting into infrastructure support, and infra support is little bit even tiresome because you need to always keep your eyes and ears open for any alerts. Support role is good. Developer, if you get a great project, for example, in Dubai, modernization of ports is something which nobody in the world has got the wherewithal to touch that. And if you get those kind of an opportunity, great. Now, if you look at the Tesla car, which is there in the US, and trying to look at how the software can develop the car to run much faster at a cheaper fuel, means electricity. So those kind of projects, if it is close to your heart, it will be interesting. Otherwise, it is only going to be the career over there.
Okay, thank you very much, Rajesh, for answering all those questions. And with that, we have come towards the end of today's Q&A session and end of today's HCL TechBiz talks. And thank you, Rajesh, for coming in and enlightening us
Oh,
on
yeah.
different types of cloud services, on different types of infrastructure, and the latest trends. And I'm sure our audience would have learned this afternoon. And thank you very much for everyone who is joining us live today. And until we see you all next time, you stay safe and take care.
Very important. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I have and Manaka once again. All the best. Stay safe.